Ẹ káalẹ́, ẹ̀yin ọmọ ìyá mi, ọmọ Yorùbá jákèjádò gbogbo orígun mẹ́rẹ̀ẹ̀rin àgbáyé. Ẹ kú ìfọmọnìyàn ṣe, ẹ kú ìfẹ́ tó ń pa wá pọ̀ lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ báyìí. Ọlọ́run Elédùmarè kò ní pa iná ìfẹ́ náà, Ọlọ́run ò dẹ̀ ní yà wá. Ṣe rí, àwa la gbọ́dọ̀ máa bára wa sọ̀rọ̀ lórí ọ̀rọ̀ tó wà ńlẹ̀ yìí. A gbọ́dọ̀ bára wa sọ̀rọ̀ gan-an lórí ọ̀rọ̀ tó wà ńlẹ̀ yìí. Torí wípé ṣe rí tí àgbàlagbà bá rí látorí ìjókòó, bọ́mọ kékeré bá rí, bọ́mọ kékeré bá gun orí ìrókò, ó lè mọ́ lè rí. Bọ́mọ gun orí odidi ilé, orí ọ̀pṣà, ó lè má rí tí àgbàlagbà rí lórí ìjókòó. Ìdí nìyí tí mo fẹ́ ká ṣọ́ra. Ẹ dákun, mo fẹ́ káwa ọmọ Yorùbá ṣọ́ra gan-an. Mo dẹ̀ fẹ́ àwọn kọ̀ọ̀kan tó bá súnmọ́ Aṣíwájú Bọ́lá Ahmed Tinubu, tí wọ́n bá wo fídíò yìí, ká bá mi sọ fún wọn pé kan torí Ọlọ́run kan má mú ọ̀tá nílẹ̀ Yorùbá. Gbogbo àwọn èèyàn tí à ń rí bí ọ̀tá, tá a mọ̀ pé ọ̀tá ni wọ́n, ṣùgbọ́n káwọn má mú ọ̀tá, kí wọ́n mọ̀ wípé àwọn ọ̀tá yìí náà wà láyé tí wọn ò fẹ́ káwọn débi táwọn dé yẹn, tọ́lọ́run dẹ̀ gbá wọn débẹ̀. So tọ́lọ́run bá ti wá gbé wọn débẹ̀, àṣé wọn ò nídìí àti gbèjà ara wọn. Tí mo fẹ́ kí wọ́n ṣe ni pé, torí bọ́lọ́run ṣe ń jẹ́ kí ilé ó mọ́ sí i, bẹ́ẹ̀ ni Ọlọ́run ń fọ̀ wọ́n mọ́, bẹ́ẹ̀ ni Ọlọ́run fọ̀ Aṣíwájú Bọ́lá Ahmed Tinubu mọ́, bẹ́ẹ̀ ni ìjọ àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá ẹnu àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá ló ń ṣọ̀kan sí látòrí Aṣíwájú Bọ́lá Ahmed Tinubu. Gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ wá contribute, tẹ́ lọ́wọ́ lẹ́sẹ̀ nínú bí ẹnu wa ṣe bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní ṣọ̀kan yìí, a ní fojú sunkún ara wa. Wọn ò ní wá wa tì o, wọn ò ní wá wa tì láyé, a ò dẹ̀ ní fojú sunkún ara wa. Ṣé rí, ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ òjò ló ti rọ̀ tílẹ̀ ti fi mọ́. Mo fẹ́ kí Aṣíwájú, bí Aṣíwájú ṣe padà ń wọ Nàìjíríà, kí wọ́n mú sàtífíkẹ́ẹ̀tì wọn. Mo fẹ́ kí wọ́n mú dé àtọ̀dọ̀ àti ọ̀rẹ́ àtọ̀tá, gbogbo wọn ni mo fẹ́ kí wọ́n lọ mú sàtífíkẹ́ẹ̀tì yẹn bá. Kódà tí ìdórí Ọbásanjọ́ gan tí èso ọmọ Yorùbá, kí wọ́n mú dọ́dọ̀ ẹ̀. Ẹ jẹ́ ká pe wèrè lọ́kọ ìyàwó kó lè jẹ́ àrọ́nà lọ. Níbi oríṣiríṣi nǹkan táwọn èèyàn ti hàn sílẹ̀, bí wọ́n ti ṣe kó ẹ̀mí àwọn èèyàn sókè, ọwọ́ àwọn bàbá Ọbásanjọ́ yìí náà ló dé wà ń bẹ̀. Àti àwọn èèyàn bí wọn náà, àti bàbá tó lóun ó kó lọ Ghana. Ọlọ́run ní jẹ́ kí n yọ máa rè. Tó bá ṣe pé mi mo sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn pé tí Aṣíwájú Bọ́lá Ahmed Tinubu bá wọlé, màá kó lọ sí Ghana. Ọjọ́ kejì tó wọlé ni màá ti lọ. Ṣùgbọ́n ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ẹlòmíín náà, wọ́n kàn máa ń sọ̀rọ̀, kán bá ti lanu kọ́rọ̀ jáde ni. Otherwise, kò yẹ kí irú wọn wà Nàìjíríà báyìí, kò yẹ kán wà l'Ékòó. Ṣùgbọ́n a dúpẹ́ f'Ọlọ́run. Ṣé rí, nǹkan tó kù tí àwa máa ṣe é sìn, àfọ̀mọ́ la need láti fọ̀. Inú mi dùn lọ́tẹ̀ yìí wípé gbogbo àwọn tí wọ́n wà ní diaspora, gbogbo wọn ni wọ́n ti ń fi ọwọ́ sowọ́ pọ̀ pẹ̀lú ìlọsíwájú ìkíni. Ó dàbí ẹni pé àwọn náà ti ń rí bí ẹni pé àtẹ̀gùn ibi tá à ń lọ gangan ló wáyé yìí. Mo wá fẹ́ kí ẹ̀yin ọmọ Yorùbá, ẹ jẹ́ ká bára wa sọ̀rọ̀. ẹ jẹ́ ká bá àwọn èèyàn sọ̀rọ̀ kí wọ́n má bú ìjọba lásìkò yìí. A nídìí ẹ̀. Ṣé a tún fẹ́ sọra wa di ọ̀tá Aṣíwájú Bọ́lá Ahmed Tinubu tó tún jẹ́ tiwa yìí ni? Àwa yìí la bú ọmọ Fúlàní tó wà ń bẹ̀ nísìn Buhari. Àwa yìí la bú títí ọmọ tiwa tún débẹ̀ sí. A tún ráwọn èèyàn kọ̀ọ̀kan náà tó sì tún ń kọ̀ǹdẹ́mù ẹ̀, tí wọ́n tún ń kọ̀ǹdẹ́mù olóṣèlú. Ṣé rí gbogbo ń tá a fi bàjẹ́ láti bẹ̀rẹ̀ rèé? Mo fẹ́ kẹ́yin àgbàlagbà tẹ́ ẹ lọ́pọlọ ẹ bá àwọn èèyàn sọ̀rọ̀ torí Ọlọ́run. Ẹ̀yin aṣíwájú wa ẹ bá àwọn èèyàn sọ̀rọ̀. Ibi táwọn èèyàn ń yà sí yìí ò dáa. Ẹ jẹ́ ká jọ tọ̀ sí ojú kan kó lè hó. Ẹ wo gbogbo tí àwọn oríṣiríṣi àwọn èèyàn ń sọ nípa Aṣíwájú Bọ́lá Ahmed Tinubu lórí àṣà àti já wálẹ̀ sá. Ẹ wo tí wọ́n pariwo lórí ọ̀rọ̀ ó jalè, ó ṣe kinní kan, ó ṣe nǹkan kan, ó ṣe FBI. Mo fẹ́ kẹ́ ẹ gbọ́ nǹkan tí FBI sọ lórí Aṣíwájú Bọ́lá Ahmed Tinubu. Ẹ wò.
Biola, I'm making this video as a follow-up to the video that I made a few weeks ago pertaining to President-elect Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Since I made that video, it has gone viral. This follow-up video is necessary because of the numerous calls that I've received pertaining to the initial video. Perhaps this new video will help everyone to put everything into proper perspective. In my hands is my note that I took during my meeting with the State Department in 1994 pertaining to Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Part of my training was that we must always take notes and keep those notes for future references. As I mentioned in my previous video, our president-elect has never been arrested, arraigned, detained, prosecuted, or convicted for any drugs-related offenses or money laundering in the U.S. or anywhere in the world for that matter. No warrant has ever been issued for his arrest or against him. I would like to take this opportunity to ask Mr. Obi to go and stop his baseless and frivolous lawsuit. His lawsuit is not only slanderous, but it is also an assault on the office of the President-elect and the presidency of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Nigerians, however, may like to know that one of the presidential candidates has forfeited $640 million to the U.S. government in the last 15 years. Records of those forfeitures can be found at U.S. district courts in Washington, D.C., in Georgia, in Florida, in California, and also in New York. However, Rufai and his gang at Arise are not talking about that candidate. We must focus on how we are going to work together and repatriate all this forfeited money around the world. The last estimate given by the UN is that approximately $300 billion of Nigerian money is being forfeited or in the banks around the world. We need to bring this money back to Nigeria and use it to develop the country. That's where our focus should be. How we are going to use this money, repatriate them to Nigeria to stimulate the economy, and start President-elect Tinubu's stimulus program for Nigeria that will empower the youth and our population, general population. In 1993, an Igbo man, Otto Iseribe, filed a frivolous lawsuit against MKO Abiola that caused the annulment and the derailment of the election that gave MKO Abiola the mandate to rule Nigeria. 30 years later, Peter Obi, another Igbo man, has now filed a baseless and meritless lawsuit trying to annul the votes of almost 9 million Nigerians. You don't go to court and ask the court to void the votes of millions of Nigerians based on assumptions, on allegations that has never been proven in the court of law. Mr. Obi is trying to plunge this country into another crisis based on unproven and unsubstantiated allegations and assumptions. He wants to bully himself to Aso Rock.
Sherry, mo rò pé tí FBI bá wá lè sọrú nǹkan tán sọ yẹn, mo challenge ọmọ àlè kan lórílẹ̀-èdè yìí kó jáde kó wá àlẹ́jì Aṣíwájú Bọ́lá Ahmed Tinubu. Torí àwọn tó ní àṣírí ayé jù lórí ọ̀rọ̀ corruption tàbí kankan òun nìyẹn. Wọ́n sì tún bá wa dámọ̀ràn lórí àwọn owó wa tó há síta bí ó ṣe wọlé tí mo dẹ̀ mọ̀ pé Ọlọ́run ó lo Aṣíwájú Bọ́lá. Ẹ wo iye billions lówó tí wọ́n sọ pé àwọn èèyàn wá jí kó tí wọ́n ló wà ń ta. Ẹ dákun, èwo ni wọ́n dárúkọ Aṣíwájú Bọ́lá Ahmed Tinubu ń bẹ̀? Àwọn tí wọ́n pilẹ̀ ṣe mínísítà tí wọ́n kówó jẹ, àwọn tí wọ́n ṣe director general àwọn ministry ńláńlá tí wọ́n kówó jẹ, ẹ sọ̀rọ̀ dọ́dọ̀ wọn. Aṣíwájú yìí nìkan ló dáràn lọ́wọ́ yín. mi mọ̀ tó kó sí àwa ọmọ Yorùbá nínú lọ́tẹ̀ yìí tọ́lọ́run ń jẹ́ kí ìmọ̀ wa ṣọ̀kan. Ẹ ní fojú sunkún ara yín ẹ̀yin ọmọ Yorùbá, pàápàá jùlọ ẹ̀yin tẹ́ wà ní diaspora yẹn, torí pé ẹ̀yin náà lẹ kọ ìwọ̀sí yẹn. Ẹ ti náwó, ẹ ti nára, ẹ ti sáré débi tí èèyàn sáré dé. Ṣùgbọ́n gbogbo nǹkan láyé mo fẹ́ kẹ́ ẹ mọ̀ pé ó wà lọ́wọ́ Ọlọ́run. Ohunkóhun ń bẹ lọ́wọ́ Ọlọ́run. Ẹ dákun torí Ọlọ́run, táwọn èèyàn bá ń sọ oríṣiríṣi nǹkan tí wọ́n ń sọ nípa Aṣíwájú Bọ́lá Ahmed Tinubu, ṣé àwa ọmọ Yorùbá yẹ ká máa sọ contrary tó dẹ̀ jẹ́ àràbù ni? Ẹ tó wo tí pásítọ̀ yìí sọ.
You don't need instigate anybody. Nobody's blood is worth anybody's ambition. If God say you are going to be there, you will be there. Olarewaju, Adisa, Dia, they were in prison. Abacha was in power. They were about to be sentenced to be killed. But the God who owns heaven and earth overnight took the man overnight. God has power to do anything. But hear me, anybody God puts there, you have no power to hate any human being. Never you use anybody's health to abuse them. You are, as a man of God, it is a sin to insult people, using their health, their age to insult them, and their sickness to insult them. You did not create them. You did not own their earth. You are going to be old. You are going to understand sickness. If you want to preach what is wrong. Don't insult people with their battles of life. The reason why I feel in my own thought why this is happening, we've shown too much hatred to the man that win. The Bible said that Leah was hated, and for the reason that she was hated, God opened her womb and shut the womb of Rachel. You cannot show hatred the way you have shown hatred to His Excellency President Ahmed Bola Tinubu. The way you have elect, the way you have shown hatred to him as Christians is beyond the measure. Hate the system, don't hate the man. You don't like him, you have used your votes to do that. It shouldn't go beyond this. When it gets personal, it's unchristian, it's unscriptural, it's not biblical. You have no right to use somebody's sickness to insult him. Hear me, I'm not close to anybody. I'm not close to anybody. Nobody. You see me, I was out of the country. Nobody. I just spoke the mind of God. But every truth has to be spoken. The way it is. We occupy Nigeria. Took Goodluck Jonathan out. A Christian. And now we want to show that we love Christians. Hypocrites everywhere. You have shown the grip of corruption. Let's eat it together. Hear me. I'm saying it as a prophet. Nothing new. God will do His own thing. And I said to you, you said there is a David. I've not seen a David. The David is still in the jungle. He has not been discovered. 2031, you will see your David. You might not like what I say. Go and watch. I started talking about this 2 years ago. I said to you, the David is coming, but the David is not the one you think. It's not the one. Even me, I don't know the David, but I know the David is somewhere. He's somewhere. God has hidden him so that no one will see him. If not, they will kill him. Is Nigeria not going to make progress? We will make progress. Is this not going to get better? It will get better. It will usher us to the real thing we are looking for. And hear me, whether you like it or not, what is instituted, we usher what is about to come. Abuse me, insult me, I don't even care. Me, I don't know what is called insult, because even my name is where I am. Anything you want to say about me. Some of them became prophets overnight. People that are not prophesying, they are not exchanging, collecting money behind prophesying. Teachers that teach the word, pastors that are breaking bottles, anointing everybody everywhere. When we talk, if they want to talk, they will insult we prophet. Fake, fake, fake. Now, we are not calling you fake. Oh, you made mistake. God keep you. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Are you blessed? Are you blessed? Somebody shout fire. Can I say something? I keep saying it. I'm a believer of this country. I see a new Nigeria. Hello? Hello?
Ẹ dákun torí Ọlọ́run ẹ gbọ́ ọ̀rọ̀ ọlọ́pọlọ lẹ́nu pásítọ̀. N tó jẹ́ kí màmá fi pásítọ̀ yìí hàn, pásítọ̀ méjì ni màá fi hàn. Ṣùgbọ́n n tó jẹ́ kí n fi àwọn méjèèjì hàn ni pé ẹ rí i pé ìgbà kan wà tí mo bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní bú àwọn pastors. Ọ̀dọ̀ mo yànnàná ẹ̀ náà o, mo sọ pé àwọn pásítọ̀ kan dáa tí mo ṣàdúrà fún wọn, but mo sọ pé àwọn pásítọ̀ kan ò dáa. But nínú àwọn sinimá, nínú àwọn fídíò mi yẹn, àwọn pásítọ̀ tí ò dáa ni mo mú wá, tí mò ń fi nǹkan tí wọ́n ń ṣe hàn yín, kẹ́ ẹ lè mọ̀ pé aláìdáa ni wọ́n, kẹ́ ẹ lè mọ̀ pé wọn ò lè ṣe nǹkan kan tó dáa, nǹkan kan ò lè dáa lójú wọn. But this time around, mo wá rí wípé yes, tí n bá lè mú àwọn yẹn wá sójú wòran yín, àwọn pásítọ̀ tó ṣe dáadáa náà wà, irú wọn kò sí tó burú tí n bá lè tún mú wọn wá sí ojú wòran yín. Ìyẹn ni ó fà á tí mo fi mú pásítọ̀ ilé tí mo mú wá yẹn tí mo mú wá. Oríṣiríṣi ọ̀rọ̀ ni wọ́n ń tì mọ́ Aṣíwájú Bọ́lá Ahmed Tinubu lọ́rùn. Ẹ dákun, kí ni arákùnrin yìí ti ṣe rí? Gbogbo àwọn èèyàn kan tí wọ́n bá sọ̀rọ̀, àwọn náà bá wa débi, àwọn náà já bá a débi tá a wà yìí, àwọn náà ti wà débi tá a. Ẹ dákun, kí ni Aṣíwájú Bọ́lá Ahmed Tinubu ṣe tiẹ̀ débi tí ó ti ọ̀dẹ́? Nígbà tó jẹ́ pé síìkì tó mọ̀ọ́mọ̀ fọ́ sí wa sí márèèjì yẹn, ṣépè fún. Síìkì ló sì yẹ kí gbogbo ọmọ orílẹ̀-èdè yìí ọmọ ṣépè fún. Torí Ọbáfẹ́mi Awólọ́wọ̀ àti Sàdáúnà Sókótó wọn ò fẹ́ márèèjì yẹn. Lẹ́yìn tí Nnamdi Azikiwe dá wàhálà yẹn sílẹ̀ tó fọ́ọ̀sì wa sí márèèjì tá à nífẹ̀ẹ́ sí, ẹ̀yìn ìgbà náà ni ọmọ wọn tó wà ń sójà ìlú náà strike tán bẹ̀rẹ̀ tiwọn. So gbogbo àwọn nǹkan tá a bá mọ̀ nípa ẹ̀, ẹ má jẹ́ á máa tì mẹ́ni ẹlẹ́ni lọ́rùn. Ẹ dákun, nínú gbogbo tí mo sọ sílẹ̀ yẹn, ẹ dákun, kí ni ti Aṣíwájú Bọ́lá Ahmed Tinubu mẹ́? Àwọn ọmọ Yíbò gan mọ̀ wípé àwọn làwọn fọwọ́ ara àwọn fa márèèjì tí ò wọ́ọ̀kù. Ṣé bọ́ ọmọ Yíbò ló sọ eléyìí?
Majority of my Igbo brothers, they don't want to hear the word one Nigeria. But one Nigeria was created by Ibos. I will explain to you. Even before we gained our independence, our founding father, they see the differences between Nigerians. They see the difference in culture, different in religion, and they agree to practice regional system of government. A system of government that will give every region an autonomous power. But that was being opposed by Nnamdi Azikiwe. Before the eve of Nigeria independence, he went to London to complain to our colonial master that he wants one Nigeria, but the Westerner and the Northerner don't want that to be. Even though after our independence, Nigeria practiced regional system of government. We have in the north, Sir Ahmadu Bello, in the west, Awolowo, and in the east, we have Nnamdi Azikiwe. But that system of government was being interrupted when Nigeria experienced a first military coup d'etat that was being carried out by an Easterner. Though Agui Iromsi and Iboma stopped the military coup d'etat, everyone expects Agui Iromsi to maintain the system of government that was created by our founding father, regional system of government. What did Agui do? Agui Iromsi destroy and abolish regional system of government, create stratocracy, a system of government by the military, and make himself the head of state. Making himself the head of state, Nigeria technically become a federal system of government, whereby regional system of government were reduced to the barest minimum, and the federal system of government will oversee the nation. What Agui Ironsi did threw the nation into chaos, and that does not go down well with a lot of people. And we have people like Isaac Adaka-Boro, who on several occasions pleaded with Agui Iromsi, sent letters, protest, and even sent delegates pleading with him we need to return to regional system of government, and also pointing out that Niger Delta being the only source of income of the nation, and yet the people are living in abject poverty. Regional system of government will help abolish the poverty in his region. But Agui Iromsi refused to listen to anyone because he wanted the power all to himself. One Nigeria was created. By who? By an Igbo man. Then Isaac Adaka-Boro went ahead and declared the Republic of Niger Delta, and he created his own militant. When Agui Iromsi saw that Isaac Adaka-Boro declared the Republic of Niger Delta, him, with the support of Ojukwu, moved to stop Isaac Adaka-Boro. They fought the Niger Delta militant for good 12 days. After the battle, the Isaac Adaka-Boro and his men, they lost the battle, and Agui Iromsi arrested Isaac Adaka-Boro, tried him for treason, and he was in prison awaiting his execution. When the Northerners, they planned their counter coup. Don't forget, the Ibos, they planned the first coup in Nigeria, and the Northerners, they also carried out the counter coup, and Agui Iromsi was killed while Isaac Adaka-Boro was still in the prison. And then Yakubu Gowon became the head of state. After the counter coup, all the Ibos, they became victims everywhere. They started killing the Ibos, and that was what moved Ojukwu, who helped Agui Iromsi to stop Isaac Adaka-Boro from declaring Niger Delta Republic. Ojukwu, ironically himself, went ahead and declared the Republic of Biafra. Then Isaac Adaka-Boro was still in prison, and Nigeria was thrown into the second civil war. Then, when the Biafra led by Ojukwu and Nigeria led by Gowon went into the civil war, Isaac Adaka-Boro, who was still in prison, wrote letter to Yakubu Gowon telling him that Ojukwu cannot eat his cake and have it. Ojukwu and Agui Iromsi said one Nigeria, and one Nigeria it will be. They stopped him from declaring Niger Delta Republic, and they can never have the Biafra. He pleaded with Gowon to release him from prison because he had an unfinished business with Ojukwu. Then Yakubu Gowon, knowing that Isaac Adaka-Boro felt betrayed by the Ibos, he immediately released Isaac Adaka-Boro from prison and make him a major. Then Isaac Adaka-Boro used his power as a major to enlist all his fellow militants into the Nigeria army, and they fought alongside Nigeria army to defeat the Biafra. If you know the story about the civil war, Isaac Adaka-Boro and his men, they are the one that helped Nigeria army to win the Biafra. Believe it or not, because the Niger Delta militants, they know the land, they know the river, they know everywhere, and with the ability to speak every language, they were the one that carried out those atrocities during the war. They were the one that finished all the Ibos everywhere because they had the grievances. They felt betrayed by the Ibos. The Ibos stopped them from declaring Niger Delta Republic. Why would the Ibos want to have Biafra? Because of Isaac Adaka-Boro. This man fought tirelessly alongside Nigeria army, though he was eventually killed near Okrika, River State, the present-day River State. But that man, he dealt with the Ibos because Ojukwu and Agui Iromsi stopped him from achieving Niger Delta Republic, and that was one of the reasons why Ojukwu also could not achieve Biafra. You said one Nigeria, and one Nigeria it will remain. As a vast historian, I have been sent to give all Nigeria the truth. I'm Mr. Z, and I will be back.
Ẹ dákun, gbogbo ntọ́ ọmọ Yíbò yìí sọ yìí, ẹ dákun ẹ tọ́ka sí èyí tó sẹ́wọ́ máa Aṣíwájú Bọ́lá Ahmed Tinubu lára ń bẹ̀. Báwọn kan bá pariwo, òun ló gbé Buhari wá, ẹ dákun sí Aṣíwájú Bọ́lá Ahmed ń fi ọwọ́ wa tẹ̀ka dandan ni. Ṣé gbogbo ọmọ Nàìjíríà ló dìbò fún Buhari ni? Ṣé gbogbo ọmọ Nàìjíríà náà ni Aṣíwájú Bọ́lá Ahmed fọwọ́ wọn tẹ̀ka ni? Mo ti sọ sẹ́yìn náà, ṣé Aṣíwájú Bọ́lá Ahmed Tinubu náà tó náà ló campaign fún Ọbásanjọ́? Ṣé Aṣíwájú Bọ́lá Ahmed Tinubu ó náà ló campaign fún Yar'Adua? Ṣé Aṣíwájú Bọ́lá Ahmed Tinubu ó náà ló campaign fún Jonathan? Ẹ dákun ta ló ṣe dáadáa nínú wọn? Kí ló tí ẹ kí ṣe rí nǹkan tá a bá fẹ́ àlọ́ràn? Inú mi wá dùn pé ìmọ̀ ọmọ Yorùbá ti ń ṣọ̀kan. inú mi dùn pé ìmọ̀ wa ti ń ṣọ̀kan nígbà tí kì í ṣe wípé Aṣíwájú Bọ́lá Ahmed ló mọ́ wa tí fi ń tẹ̀ka báyìí tó bá ṣe pé níyẹn náà ṣe dáadáa sáàrùn tí Aṣíwájú Bọ́lá Ahmed kò ní ló mú adé bẹ̀. Then mo dẹ̀ sọ fún yín, mo jẹ́ kẹ́ ẹ mọ̀ wípé gbogbo àwọn wọléwọ̀de tó ń ṣe pẹ̀lú wọn nígbà yẹn lọ́hùn náà kó náà lè débi tó ń lọ yìí ni. Ìgbà tá a máa bù tá a máa sọ oríṣiríṣi ó ti lọ gbé 100 million kan fún wọn níbi tílé ti jó ní nọ́ọ̀tì, ó ti lọ gbé 200 million kan fún wọn níbi tílé ti jó ní east. Tí ò bá ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ níjọ́ náà lọ́hùn, kí ni ó ṣe dérú ipò tó dé yìí? Ẹ jẹ́ stop blame. Ẹ jẹ́ stop blaming of anybody. Listen, ẹ jẹ́ ká concentrate lérí ní tá à ń ṣe ni. Mo wá fẹ́ kí ẹ̀yin aṣíwájú wa nínú àwa tá a pera wa ní Yorùbá nation. Mo fẹ́ kí ẹ bá mi bá àwọn èèyàn sọ̀rọ̀ kí wọ́n mọ́ tó bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní lùlù ogun míì o. Ìlú ogun ni ká tó máa kọ̀ndẹ́mù ìjọba tí ò tí ì débẹ̀ yìí lọ o. Ìlú ogun míì la tó ń lù yẹn o. Èmi ó dé ẹ wo bẹ́ẹ̀mi dẹ̀ ṣe máa ń pariwo rèé. Mo mọ̀ pé ẹ̀yin ọlọ́pọlọ ẹ̀yin onílàákàyè mọ nǹkan tí mò ń sọ yìí o. Ẹ bá wa bá àwọn ajìjàgbara tàbí àwọn tá a jọ wà nínú sọ̀rọ̀sọ̀rọ̀ tá a jọ wà nínú sọ̀rọ̀sọ̀rọ̀ Yorùbá nation tẹ́lẹ̀. Ẹ dákun ẹ bá wa dá wọn lẹ́kùn. Ẹ bá wa dá wọn lẹ́kùn. Ẹ jẹ́ ká ṣe kínní ìmọ̀ wọn. A tún ti fẹ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀, a tún ti ń hùn jọ láti tún bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní takú ìjọba báyìí. A ní ìdí ẹ̀. A ní ìdí ìjọba tiwa ló fẹ́ dórí oyè yìí. Ìjọba tá a lè gba ní tá a fẹ́ lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀ ni. Kí ló sọ fún yín wípé kì í ṣe ń táwa fẹ́ gbà yẹn ni Ọlọ́run rán Aṣíwájú Bọ́lá Ahmed Tinubu wá fi lé wa lọ́wọ́? Kí ló sọ fún yín bẹ́ẹ̀? Kò tí ì bẹ̀rẹ̀ ìjọba, a tún ti ń to ẹjọ́. A tún ti fẹ́ jẹ́ ọ̀tá ìjọba tí ò tí ì dé. Ní tí mò ń sọ iye mi o. Ó lè má yí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn èèyàn o. Àwọn tí mo sì ń sọ̀rọ̀ wọn yìí wọ́n mọra wọn o. Èmi ò ní ẹ má gbèjà kò mí o. Problem gbèsè ayé ti yín nìyẹn o. But n tèmi ń rò ní wípé pẹ̀lú n tá à ń fẹ́ lọ́jọ́ wa in the nearest future yìí, pẹ̀lú bó ṣe wá jẹ́ pé ọmọ wa tá a lè bá sọ̀rọ̀, tá a lè sọ pé nǹkan báyìí a fẹ́, pẹ̀lú bó ṣe jẹ́ pé ló wá débẹ̀ ìsìn, ẹ ṣe jẹ́ ká jẹ́ kí wọ́n búra fún un, ká wá romance ẹ̀ lórí nǹkan tá à ń fẹ́. Bó bá ti jẹ́ wípé nítorí tí ò ṣe bá wa ṣe tẹ́lẹ̀, nítorí pé ó náà ti dájọ́ ó fẹ́ kó àjọ ni, ṣé bó ti kó àjọ báyìí. Kí wá ló sọ fún wa wípé Ọlọ́run ò ní lò láti jẹ́ kí ọmọ Yorùbá ó rí òmìnira ilẹ̀ Yorùbá gbà? Kí ló sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ fún wa? Tẹ́ni yóò tí ì dórí oyè tá a tó ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ ọ̀rọ̀, tá a tó fi bẹ̀rẹ̀ ibú. Ẹ wo, mo bẹ̀ wá o, mo bẹ̀ wá o, ẹ dákun torí Ọlọ́run ojú omi tiwa o. Ẹ̀yin ọmọ Yorùbá, mo rí èèmọ̀ kan tó yà mí lẹ́nu tí mi ò rírú ẹ̀ rí. Ṣùgbọ́n kí n tó sọ̀rọ̀ lé lórí, màá kọ́kọ́ fi ọmọ Yorùbá àtàtà yẹn, màá kọ́kọ́ fi hàn wá ná. Torí pé tí n bá sọ wípé láti ọjọ́ tí mo ti ń rí nǹkan tí Yorùbá ń kọ tàbí tí Yorùbá ń sọ, tí n bá ń sọ wípé eléyìí ni inú mi ti dùn sí jù láyé, ẹ sọ pé rọ ni. Wàláì mo fi Ọlọ́run Lédùmarè búra pé nínú tá à ń sọ tàbí nínú tá à ń kọ, tí mo sì gbádùn jù láyé mi tó jáde látẹnu ọmọ Yorùbá ó ní.
Because the Chinese does not need to master another man's English. And when you go to the United Nations, you see people who can speak English refusing to speak English, insisting on speaking their mother tongues. And the United Nations will use our own money to pay for interpreters and all of that will help everybody to understand what they are saying. The Chinese will say, tun, tun, tun. I don't agree. You can't say, no, you must speak English. Because globally, there is no language that is a standard or a determinant of progress. So that is critical. Now, here, English language is fantastic. There's nothing wrong with it. And I'm not saying we should take it away. I am saying that it is overrated. English language should not be a determinant of progress in our own country. It is not our fault. I'm speaking to you guys, right? it is not our fault that we have our language. If you can't say church, you can't even marry the girl of your dreams. Because if you go to a house on Sunday and you say, we are going to church, and your daddy, the father of the girl says, where are you guys going? Say, we are going to church. That's the end. I mean, he will just call his girlfriend, his daughter, and say, you've not found your husband, though. Except the father is also a church-speaking father.
Where church has met church. And there are churches
so,
now.
by sympathetic resonance,
Okay,
they agree.
Okay, great.
But the idea is that we really have to take a second look at this. Because if I cannot say church and I say church, it's not a proof of my intelligence. It does not define the strength of my character. It does not show the credibility of my decency. And so the people who observe me must have another kind of education that allows them to move beyond the limits of container, which is what the tongue can do. The tongue, your body, my suit, and everything I'm wearing right now is a container. My true content is the content of my character. And that has nothing to do with the way I speak. Now, this is the challenge. The guys in China, the guys in Japan, the guys in America, in England, in Germany, in France, they have learned 4 subjects in their native language. That's important. They've learned physics, chemistry, biology, and mathematics. Those 4 subjects make everything that is in this room. Physics, chemistry, biology, maths made your suit, your computer, your watch, everything in this room. Everything in the world, they made it. Every other subject is either selling what they make, distributing it, protecting it, or doing something. Now, the idea is that because they learned those subjects in their native languages, I believe it aided comprehension. Look, why are the richest nations in the world, the first world countries in the world, why are these nations all speaking their native languages? It's just food for thought. Why is it that lingua franca only exists in third world nations and nations that have been colonized? Is it not looking more and more like an agenda to keep us small? Because every time you ignore the gift of nature, you embrace another inferior fabric that in itself is artificial and cannot define your originality, your authenticity, and your strength. So, if there is a way that you can learn your subjects in your language, I'm telling you, you will do better. You will comprehend better. Now you then ask me, so how do we communicate nationally? How do we talk to the guys in Kano and the guys in the East and the guys everywhere?
Exactly, because you are preempting my question. Because here I am looking at you like, I was about to say that 2 things. So what is your suggestion now that I speak Yoruba now on this program? And it's ironic because you are actually speaking the English.
Yes.
And the intensity of the English is making these creatures clap. I love you all. And they are all clapping. So so what is do we see a bit of an irony here? Is that like a logical question to ask? So how do I communicate with you?
Yes. First of all, I would like to say that I don't have a problem with English language. We have accepted it for over 50 years now. There's nothing we can do about that. What I'm saying is, let us check it and put it in perspective, such that we can find a way to communicate, probably using the same language, but not hindering us from progressing. Because you can't even get a good job if you don't speak this language very well. And what is this language? This is a language that is artificial to you. Your nature is what is natural to you. And so I should judge you if you cannot speak Yoruba very well or you cannot speak Igbo very well. Now, pidgin is not an embarrassment. Pidgin is the proof. Pidgin is the proof of a people's struggle with an original language. So there's pidgin French, there's pidgin English, there's pidgin Yoruba. Most of the Yoruba you speak is pidgin. There's pidgin Igbo. Pidgin is proof of a people's struggle with an original language. So there's pidgin in every language. Clemens Westlauf is supposed to be the Super Eagles' most successful coach. Meanwhile, Super Eagles is the only team in the world. I hope you know. Okay. So this Clemens Westlauf was a Dutchman. He came to Nigeria, spent some time here, won probably every competition, took us to the World Cup for the first time. But how does he speak? tomorrow we play, Yekini score, we win. That's how he talks. When he's training, come, ball, move. That's how he talks. He never shared one correct grammar in all his years in Nigeria and after he left Nigeria and before he came to Nigeria. Are we on the same page? Yeah. But he was understood by his players. He won matches and did great stuff for the country, isn't it? But nobody complained. When he's talking to the media, he's always shelling. There's no day Clement Sesau does not share. Tomorrow we play Kenya, we win, score. That's how he talks. I'm come tomorrow from Nairobi, we go camp. That's how he talks. All right? But you understand that he's not an Englishman. You understand that he's Dutch. But I doubt if that's what you really understand. I think what you understood really is that he's white. And because he's white, you can forgive that imbalance. Because Shino Peter said, I wish you soonest recover. Some years ago. It took him time to recover from that error.
A long time.
The media finished him. Everywhere. If I get here and I say, thank you for bringing me here, that can be the end of the show. You guys can just say, who is this blast from the past? Who brought this guy here? You know, and that has nothing to do with the strength of my character. And even a lady will judge me, with my struggle with that particular grammar. And I could be the best guy in town in terms of kindness, love, because how well I can speak this grammar does not communicate the strength of how I'm able to love a woman. That is it.
Okay, Mr. Shoko.
Ṣé ẹ gbọ́ ọmọ Yorùbá alálùbáríkà yẹn? Ẹ dákun torí Ọlọ́run. Ṣé rí ọ̀rọ̀ díẹ̀ mo fẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀ díẹ̀ lórí ẹ̀ ni. Ọ̀rọ̀ díẹ̀ tí mo fẹ́ sọ lórí ẹ̀ ni wípé ẹ̀yin ẹ̀gbọ́n mi, àbúrò mi, ọ̀rẹ́ mi, tẹ́ wà ẹ̀yin bàbá wa, ìyá wa, tẹ́ wà ní diaspora. Níbo lẹ kọ́ ọmọ yín ní èdè Yorùbá dé? Àìgbédè Yorùbá ló kó bá Favour lÉkòó. Nígbà tí ọmọ Yorùbá lòun ò tíǹkì Yorùbá, ṣé bẹ́ẹ̀ lẹ fẹ́ kí tàwọn ọmọ tiyín náà rí ni tẹ́ fi ní máa kọ́ wọn ní èdè abínibí? Àbí tó bá wá di lọ́la náà ń sìn tó ló ń bá wá ṣe tá a bá wá rí òmìnira tá à ń fẹ́ tá a bá wá rí gbà. Ṣé báwọn ọmọ wa yìí náà ni wọn ó ṣe àwọn náà wọn ó ṣe gómìnà, àwọn wọn ó ṣe member House of Assembly, àwọn wọn ó ṣe member rep, àwọn wọn ó ṣe member Senate, àwọn ni wọn ó ṣe àwọn ministers wa, àwọn wọn ó ṣe director general káàkiri, àwọn ni wọn ó ṣe head of state, àwọn ni wọn ó ṣe president orílẹ̀-èdè. Ṣé báwọn ọmọ wa yẹn náà ni? Ẹ dákun torí Ọlọ́run. Nígbà tí a bá wá jẹ́ kí wọ́n mọ̀, tá a jẹ́ kí wọ́n lè sọ èdè yìí, ẹ wo ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ nǹkan tó ń sọnù mọ́ wa lọ́wọ́. Ẹ dákun, ẹ wo àgbékalẹ̀ ọkùnrin yìí torí Ọlọ́run. Látijọ́ tí mo ti gbọ́njú, sinimá àwọn Chinese tá à ń wò, èdè wọn ni wọ́n fi ń ṣe dèní. Láti ọjọ́ tí mo ti gbọ́njú, sinimá àwọn India tá à ń wò, èdè wọn ni wọ́n fi ń ṣe dèní. Wọ́n lè subtitle nítorí pé wọ́n mọ̀ pé kì í sí gbogbo èèyàn ló gbédè wa yẹn, ṣùgbọ́n àwọn èèyàn tó gbọ́ ni wọ́n fẹ́ kó ṣe láǹfààní jù, wọ́n wá subtitle ẹ̀. Wọ́n fẹ́ kí àwọn èèyàn reason náà fi ń subtitle ẹ̀ ni pé kó lè lọ gan. Wọ́n fẹ́ kí àwọn èèyàn míì náà mọ̀ nípa ìrìn àjò ìgbésí ayé wa. Ẹ dákun, nígbà tó bá wá di àsìkò náà tásìkò náà bá dé, àsìkò òmìnira yìí, mo Ọlọ́run Elédùmarè ń gbọ́, àsìkò òmìnira wa ò jìnnà mọ́ o. Lórí ìjà kọ́ o, lórí jàgídíjàgan bí ìtàn ṣe sẹ́yìn kọ́ o. Ẹ má ṣe jàgídíjàgan o. Ẹ má tí ì bá wọn bú ìjọba tí ò tí ì dórí oyè yìí o. Ẹ má tó create another enemy fún wa o. Enmity tẹ́ ẹ create ń jọ́ sí, ẹ wo ibi tó bá wa dé o. Ẹ má create another enmity fún wa ìjọ torí Ọlọ́run o. Mo wá fi àsìkò yìí bẹ̀ ẹ̀yin ọmọ Yorùbá tẹ́ wà ní diaspora. So mo fi àsìkò bẹ̀ yín ẹ̀yin diaspora torí Ọlọ́run. Ṣé rí ẹni tí ò bá mọ̀ lè rìn tẹ̀lé èèrà ẹni tí ò bá lè rìn tẹ̀lé èèrà ẹ wo bí èèrà ṣe ń yọ́ tó yẹn kọ́ dẹ̀ máa tẹ̀lé lọ ó ń tọ́wọ́n ní lè dúró dọ́lọ́run o ẹni tí ò lè rìn tẹ̀lé èèrà kò ní lè dúró dọ́lọ́run o because ọlọ́run kì í tán kánjú rárá ìgbà tó bá wù ní ó ṣe ń tó fẹ́ fún ọ kì í ṣe ìgbà tó bá wù ọ ìgbà tó tẹ́ lọ́rùn ìgbà tó rò kàn ẹ́ ìgbà tó mọ̀ nǹkan kò ní ṣe ẹ́ léṣe ní ó tó ṣe fún ẹ so ẹ dákun torí ọlọ́run gẹ́gẹ́ bí mo ṣe sọ lẹ́ẹ̀kan ẹ rí i pé àwọn pásítọ̀ méjì ni mo ní máa fi hàn yín ẹ tún wo pásítọ̀ alálùbáríkà kan bàbá àgbàlagbà mi ní dárúkọ ẹ mo fẹ́ kẹ́ ẹ rí náà ni bàbá àgbàlagbà tí ọlọ́run ṣe wọ́n ní àgbàlagbà alálùbáríkà ẹgbọ́n táwọn náà tún sọ.
I apologize on behalf of the whole men of God, the whole pastors, the whole priests, the whole bishops. I apologize. I'm not worthy to apologize for bishops, but I'm apologizing. Let the mercy of God descend. Because what we did within this political moment, a lot of indescribable political brouhaha and political jingoism and a lot of atrocities we manifested and buried the power of the sacrament beneath political forces, political hawks and vultures. And they want to vulturize the church. And we turned the church into campaign centers. We turned the church into a place for politicking. We messed up the altar. We defiled the altar of the Most High God. How do you want power to move from such altar that have been defiled? We cannot continue with such iniquities. I am Anganiru Nalulo and Adotua. I am Major Chuku. And I was only about Kuzima de Bag Bianca. Ebaka Gesimeya. Ebesere Mada, Seno Chuku, and one among so. I thought we Gutora. I wrote to Chuku, yes, Mando. Or you were Chuku, where that was. I pray that God will forgive us. Forgive us, O Lord. Forgive us, O Lord. Forgive their church. Forgive your church. Forgive Christianity in Nigeria. We have gotten it wrong this time. Amen. Just let it be like this. If you want to misunderstand it, that is your business. I am apologizing to God to have me.
ṣe rí wípé tá a bá ń bú àwọn pásítọ̀ kan ẹ pé àwọn pásítọ̀ olóríire pọ̀ gan àwọn pásítọ̀ tí wọ́n ti ṣe oríire tó jẹ́ pé oríire náà ni àwọn àrọ́mọdọ́mọ wọn náà máa ṣe nítorí òtítọ́ tí wọ́n ń sọ jáde lẹ́nu ṣé ẹ ti rí báyìí bàbá wa kan lọ́ọ̀yà òrìṣà àgbákòbà bàbá àgbàlagbà yẹn tó jẹ́ pé ó pẹ̀lú àwọn lọ́ọ̀yà tó ṣe kéèsì Ṣàgàrí ó pẹ̀lú àwọn lọ́ọ̀yà tó fáìtì fún Ṣàgàrí lọ́dún yẹn ẹ dákun ẹ gbọ́ nǹkan kékeré tó sọ ń pa ọ̀rọ̀ wa yìí.
Nigeria. I wanted to get your opinion on assessing the grounds under which both parties are taking their cases to the court. And I mean the Labour Party and the PDP to make their individual cases in court. We do know that the law is placing the burden of responsibility on the respondent to prove electoral misconduct in that every single vote that they received was indeed true. How would you assess these grounds that they are taking to court? Is it going to be easy to prove, or is this going to be an uphill battle?
Well, let me be honest. I can be proud to say that in Nigeria today, I am one of the few lawyers who have been involved in political schism in Nigeria from 1974. I was Shagari's lawyer, I was NPN's lawyer in 74. I was sole counsel to NRC in 1991. And I have been involved in politics here since 1999. Let me be honest with you. Let me analyze, let me take, for instance, the Labour Party. They have filed an election petition based on one, that Bola Tinubu is not eligible to be voted for. Two, that even if he's eligible to be voted for, he did not get the 2/3 in Abuja State. And that even if he got it, the elections was marred with, gangsterism and different things. Those are the three elements that the Labour Party has brought forward to an election petition. Now, let me draw on the pool of my own experience. The first one is that he was not eligible because he has been found guilty, but that is a non-starter. That issue has been settled and is a non-starter. So the Labour Party can never make any headway on that ground. The second ground is that by virtue of the Constitution that says to win an election, despite and in spite that you have made the greatest number of votes, you cannot be declared elected if you did not have 2/3 in 36 states and Abuja. The question to be considered by the tribunal is, what constitutes 2/3 of the 36 states in Nigeria and Abuja? And how do you construct that word? And do you take 36 states first, and you now take Abuja, and now say that for you to be elected, you must have 2/3 of 36 states and 2/3 of the federal capital? And that is the view of the Labour Party, which I do not agree with. Now, look at this, the scenario they are saying. If Tinubu had won 2/3 of all the 36 states and fails to win 2/3 of Abuja, then he cannot be elected. Does that make a sense? Does that give any good reason for democracy to survive? No. Now, we lawyers, we have what we call, in looking at whatever construction, we look at the mischief. What does the National Assembly want to cure by that when they said you must have 2/3? Now the Supreme Court now says that, look, Abuja has been created as one of the 36 states, so it enjoys the status of a state. But the Supreme Court in one or two other cases also said, in determining whether Abuja is a state, you should not grant Abuja any privileges. Once you declare it as a state, it enjoys the same status as a state. The Constitution itself says all votes cast in an election in Nigeria are all equal. So having had these three principles, that Abuja cannot have any special status, that all votes cast in Nigeria have equal status, then why do you want to interpret "and" there to mean that if even I have 36 states, 2/3, and I don't get Abuja, then I cannot be elected? It doesn't make sense. Democracy means plurality of the people, for the people, and for the, all the people. Therefore, my own view, which I think is a reasonable view, but I'm subject to, other views by my learned and by the Supreme Court, is that in determining whether Tinubu has made that provision of 2/3 of the states, it must be the 36 states plus Abuja, which is 37 states. So if he has made the plurality of 2/3 votes in all these states added together, then he becomes elected. But as I said, this is subject to interpretation by the Supreme Court. But I am basing my submission on what the Supreme Court has said on Abuja, what it has said about votes, what it has said about equality of votes among the states. And I am subject to being, my opinion being rejected. But that is my view. Thirdly, the other step, even if the Labour Party decides that Tinubu has not qualified by virtue of past precedents, if they claim he did not have, and the court says it has, they still have to surmount that principle that the election were marred with many, many irregularities. Now, what does the law say? The law says there is a presumption of regularity attached to whatever INEC does. The Evidence Act in Nigeria gives INEC that privilege. Now, the election petition is based on the principle of sui juris, which means that compliance with the provisions of the Electoral Act is not a total compliance, but must be complied with substantially. How do you decide that word, substantiability? The Supreme Court now is in that difficult position to look at all the evidence to be brought by the Labour Party regarding malpractices. Now, the notorious place Labour Party is holding is Lagos State. They are claiming that in Lagos, they were cheated, the voters were not allowed to vote, there was this, that, okay. When they prove it, they still have to go a step outside the proving to show how it has affected the election. I was listening to one or two commentators who said, look, of all the number of wards in Lagos State, thousands of wards, only in about 84 wards could the Labour Party says there were malpractices. Now the question, if they are able to prove that there were actually malpractices in those 84 wards, how has the result in those areas affected the election? So they have an uphill task. So my own view, from my own experience in election matters, it is an uphill task for them. But you never know. You never know the circumstances of these malpractices. You never know how many votes were not allowed to be cast. So I cannot pitch my tent to say that they will not succeed. But my belief is that they have an uphill task. Very, very steep.
Bírú àwọn àgbà lọ́yà ìbálẹ̀ máa sọ náà sọ. Ta wá nìwọ tó jókòó sínú kọ̀rọ̀ yàrá ìyá rẹ̀ àti bàbá rẹ̀ tó máa sọ pé wọ́n ti lọ kóòtù. Wọn ò gbọ́dọ̀ gbéjọba fún wọn. Wọn ò gbọ́dọ̀ sọ ta nìwọ. Dákun ta nìwọ. Ó kàn ń ṣera rẹ̀ ni. Ẹ̀yin èèyàn mi, ṣé rí mo tó ń fi àsìkò èrò àwọn èèyàn tá a jọ ń jẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀sọ̀rọ̀. Àwọn kọ́mẹ̀ntì kan táwọn èèyàn máa ń give tó máa ń jẹ́ contrary yẹn bóyá tó máa ń fi bú wa tán ẹ má jẹ́ ká dárú àwọn èèyàn yẹn lóhùn mọ́. Àwọn ọmọ Ìgbò pọ̀ tó jẹ́ pé ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ni wọ́n bí wọn sí. Àwọn ni wọ́n ń ṣe kinní yẹn. Ó ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ yé mi nítorí because mo ti pè èèyàn bíi 4 padà tí mo láǹfààní àti mọ̀pọ̀ ọmọ Ìgbò ni wọ́n. Àìmọye àwọn èèyàn náà tó ti sọ fún mi pé Mr. Sokuti ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn tẹ́ máa ń fẹ́ dá lóhùn yẹn wọ́n ń sọ ọmọ Yorùbá. Wọ́n ń sọ ọmọ Yorùbá. Àwọn kan fún ìwé pé bó ṣe yẹ kó rí lọ́kàn tí wọ́n ń torí páwọn èyí sára wa ó mọ̀ nìyẹn. So mo bẹ̀ yín títí àsìkò tí màá tún mú nǹkan mi wá sí ojú ìwòran yín, ẹ jọ̀ọ́ torí Ọlọ́run ẹ má jẹ́ ká jà rárá. Ẹ má jẹ́ ká jà rárá o. Bí mo ṣe ní kí ẹ má jẹ́ ajá ìmúsọ náà last time o. Mi ní ká má múra àjàkálẹ̀ o torí téèyàn bá gbéjà wá bá wa ká bàjà kára ẹ̀ ó kọ́ o. Ṣùgbọ́n ẹ má jẹ́ káwa ọjà ilé gíláàsì láwa bí mo ṣe sọ last time. Ẹni tó bá dé wà nílé gíláàsì kì í sọ̀kò kí gíláàsì ilé ọmọ bá fọ́. Sùúrù bá ṣe ní lọ ẹjẹ́ ara ní títí tí a fi ṣe swearing tán. Mo fẹ́ bẹ bàbá mi Aṣíwájú Bọ́lá Ahmed Tinubu. Ẹ mọ́ mọ́ta o. Ẹ jẹ́ káwọn ọmọ mọ́ta bá ṣe mọ́ta yẹn mọ́ mọ́ta rárá o. Gbogbo àwọn àgbààgbà ilẹ̀ Yorùbá yẹn ni kẹ́ ẹ lọ gbé sàtífíkẹ́ẹ̀tì yín lé lọ́wọ́. Ẹ̀yin ẹ ṣe tó yẹ kẹ́ ẹ ṣe. Kódà bẹ́ẹ̀ ni dọ́dọ̀ Ọbásanjọ́ ẹ lọ fi hàn pé bàbá gbogbo agídí tí mò ń lò yẹn ẹ̀yin náà ni mo fi jọ kìnìkan. Kí ẹ jẹ́ ká pe wèrè lọ́kọ ìyàwó ká lè rọ́nà lọ táwọn èèyàn tó ń fà á lẹ̀ bá ti pọ̀ jù àti achieve máa le. Bàbá ẹ dákun torí Ọlọ́run. Ẹ̀yin nìkan lẹ lè parí ọ̀rọ̀ yìí lọ́wọ́ ara yín. Ẹ má tẹ̀lé nǹkan àwa supporters yín bá ń sọ nígbà míì. Torí àwa supporters yín bí ká ẹ máa bá wọn sọ táyé lọ ni. Ṣùgbọ́n ẹ ní cooperation àwọn èèyàn náà torí ẹ̀ ní dá sí. Àdẹ̀ lè fa àwọn olórí burúkú yẹn lẹ̀ kí wọ́n lọ máa organize rally anti Tinubu rally lójoojúmọ́ kò ní pẹ́ sú wa. So mo bẹ̀ yín, ẹ farabalẹ̀, gbogbo àwọn tẹ́ ẹ jọ contest bàbá ẹ má dà wọ́n nù ní tẹ̀tàtì, ẹ má dà wọ́n nù ẹjọ́. Àwọn kọ̀ọ̀kan tó bá wúlò nínú wọn ẹ invite wọn, ẹ lò wọ́n nínú ìjọba yìí. Ẹ jọ̀ọ́ torí Ọlọ́run bàbá, ojú ò ní tì yín, ikú kì í jẹun ẹni kó tún pa ni. Ẹ̀yin ẹ bá mi ṣe ní ikú èé jẹun ẹni kó tún pa ni. Ọlọ́run Olódùmarè wà pẹ̀lú yín. Ẹ̀yin èèyàn mi, mo kí yín o, mo fún sọ pé ojú ọ̀fẹ́ ra kò.